Hi everyone, I'm Nick and welcome back to the fifth and final episode in how I got funded with BULENOX. I decided to wait a week or so to create this video after the last few just to make sure that I got the certificate through, to the proof, and also to start trading a little bit on the account. Now this episode originally was going to be just about hitting target, how I plan to trade the account. But I can actually now show you the first couple of weeks, or the first week really, of how I've traded, and can then talk about what I'm going to do going forward. At the end of the last episode, I spoke about why my edge allowed me to trade the large size that I did. The downside to that was I did go through some pretty tough emotional roller coasters. I think there were 3 times that I could have already been funded if I hadn't made some mistakes. And I then went through a period where the edge that I was trading didn't work as well. And because of the way the drawdowns adjusted at the end of each day, there was a point, and I'll bring up the journal now for this, there was a point where after losing a trade on the 12th, legitimate trade that I lost, only just lost as well, I was in a situation where I think the account was at like $50,600 or so, and the drawdown was set at $49,600. And what this meant was, it might have even been lower than that, actually, it might have been 50,300. But what this meant was I probably only had 2 losing trades. If the next 2 trades were losses, I would probably have to reset the account. And this did play on my mind quite a bit. It wasn't the nicest feeling to know that I could take 2 trades that are perfect and there is a 25% chance based on my historical win percentage of this edge. There's a 25% chance I'll blow the account. And I had that probably for about 3 days running, where I'd win a trade, I'd lose a couple of trades, and was constantly going back and forth. And then we came to the 13th, Friday, the 13th of January, and it was quite a funny story, as I've mentioned. My girlfriend is a flight attendant, and her flight was leaving, I think, about 4 p.m. And it's about an hour to get to the airport. And normally she drives herself there, drives back. However, I needed to use the car for the weekend, which meant that I had to drop her off. And the point that I was going to be dropping her off would be around about 4 p.m. I'd be leaving here at 3 p.m. Dropping her off at 4 p.m. I think her flight was at 6:30 or something like that, thinking about it. And I wouldn't be back until 5 p.m. I trade from 3 p.m. until about 7 p.m. And this meant that if I wasn't there for those 2 hours and there were 2 legitimate trades that set up and worked, I would go through the same disgusting thought process of I should be funded right now, and it isn't very good. Fortunately, we decided the night before that we could actually leave quite a bit earlier, get there earlier, and I got back at around about 3:00. I got back at 3:15. And on that day, on Friday the 13th, I first had this trade, which made me 1.8 R. Very, very clean trade. And this then meant that I only needed to make, I think it was $1,800 and something to hit the target. Now it's quite funny because that means that I'd only made 1,200, so I wasn't even halfway there. But the size I was taking meant that if I got a trade where I could go with my larger size, I would actually be able to hit the target if I had a winning trade. And the next trade set up, I took a long, and it hit my target, and I got out of the position a tiny bit earlier than this actually shows. I got out a tiny bit earlier, and I hit the target of $53,000, which meant that I had met the criteria for the amount of profit to become a funded trader. Now, unfortunately, you have to wait 10 days. This was on day 9. So I then, on Tuesday, I think I took 1 micro contract. I got in, I got out immediately. And sent off my application form that afternoon, pretty much the moment I took a trade, and I received this. So this is my, I'll move my face out of the way for a second. This is my certificate to prove that I am funded. It was sent on the 18th of January, 2023. It's a 50k account, and yeah, it was a really exciting little period. Now, one thing I will say is that there were periods when my performance wasn't great. You know, during here, the way I mark my trades is a B grade trade is a mistake that I haven't made before, a fairly new mistake, and a C grade trade is a trade where I've made a mistake that I have made before and I'm aware of it. And I track my accuracy based on if it's an A, I get a 1. If it's a B or a C, I get a 0. I achieved a 77.8% accuracy during my funded qualification period, which is acceptable, but it's right at the threshold of where I wanted it to be. So this showed me two things. One, it showed me that there's, definitely a very large edge in the strategy I'm trading because I've achieved an okay level of accuracy and made money. But it also showed me there was a lot more to be had. The potential profit during this period was 21.5R, and I only made 8.7. Now, because of I had to change the size of some of the trades I took compared to what I would normally do, adjusted, my total profit was actually about 11R, but that meant that in the space of a few weeks, I'd given up 10R, and that's something to be improved on. So that's the story of how I got funded. I've gone through the edge that I have, how I back tested it, the size that I was trading, and now the final story of how, because my wonderful girlfriend decided that she wouldn't mind sitting at the airport for 3 hours earlier and allowed me to get home on time to trade, meant that I became funded, hitting the target on Friday, the 13th of January, which is really cool. So now we go into the next phase, which is trading the account. Now the rules are pretty much the same. In fact, they're all the same. There is a maximum drawdown of 1,100 per day. There is a maximum loss, and it's a trailing stop of $2,500 on the account, which means if I lose $2,500, I lose the account. And if I make $1,800 and then hit those losses, and then lose 2.5K from that, I lose the account. I'm very aware of this. The reason I traded large size in the qualification period is I knew that I had an edge that could make money. I knew that it had very few periods of drawdown, of significant drawdown, and therefore it meant that there was a pretty high chance that I was going to hit the profit target either on the first, second, or third attempt of doing it, which meant that the total cost was never going to exceed $400 to get in a $2,500 account. So the math of that added up. Now I've got a funded account, the game changes. There's no need to try to make $3,000 really quickly. Now it becomes a game of longevity, a game of sensible growth, kind of. I'm still going to trade this a lot more aggressively than I would trade my own money, because I see it as a case of I've paid about just under $300 worth of risk. I've put $300 up of collateral, I kind of see it. So I can trade more aggressively. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. If that's the case, well, I only lose $300. Now, I'm still going to be trading with smaller size. The size I've decided, I'm going to bring over my scaling plan right here. The only different rules actually that are in play now, thinking about it, the maximum contracts are in place, which means that until I have made $1,500 of profit, I can only take a maximum of 2 contracts, and they could be 2 mini contracts or 2 micro contracts. The current sizing I'm going with is 2 micro contracts, and that is, I put here against and with, that's how I define my whether I can go bigger or smaller. Essentially, instead of made $1,500, I'm taking 2 micro contracts, the same size, for every single trade. Once I've made $1,500, I can then take up to 4. And this is the case until you have made $4,000 of profit. So my plan is to trade 2 on my smaller winning edge and 4 on my bigger winning edge until I reach $4,000, at which point I will move to 3, 6. I am roughly risking 3% per R. Some trades take 2R, which is 6%. Some trades take 1R, which is 3%. The reason for this is because the likelihood of having a drawdown that exceeds 15 or 20R appears to be pretty small. I'm going to bring up my results now to show some differences. But that's the goal. And I'm going to keep on increasing size to be at this 3%, 6%. I'm going to go 5 micros to 1 mini at 6K. I'm going to go 6 micros to 1 mini and 2 micros, where it could get a little bit complicated. When I hit 8K, and then when I hit 10K, it's going to be 7 micros, or 1 mini and 4 micros. And when I hit $12,000, I'll go 1 micro to 2 micro. Now, I'm going to say now that that is a pretty aggressive way of trading. That means when I have $12,000 of profit in the account, the very first trade I take, I could lose 800 of that, which is 6%, which is a pretty, or it's actually more than 6%, I think, which is a pretty big drawdown in terms of money in the account. The reason I am comfortable with this is, again, I only put the $300 of collateral up. My aim is to get to a point and use this account to get to a point where I'm trading 1 mini contract or 2 mini contracts. Once I'm at that point, I'm comfortable sitting back and saying, I don't need to increase size for a while, and I'm going to build my wealth at that point. So how am I going to withdraw? Rule number 1 is you cannot withdraw until, I think it's a month's worth of trading days. And then you can take out between 1,000 and 1,500. After that, you have to wait another 12 trading days, and then you can take out another 1,000 to 1,500. And then again. So I think it's 24 trading days, the first one. So it's not for 48 days until you've been able to take out a minimum of 3,000. My aim is to take each one of those out, take the minimum amount out when I'm at a point where I can, so that when I hit the 10K mark, I have then got the decision each month whether I take the profits out beyond 12K, beyond 12K or not. Once I'm at a $12,000 account, assuming I get there, assuming my edge continues to be profitable, and assuming that I continue to be accurate trading it and make money from it, I will then have the choice at the end of each month as to go, okay, the account's now at 24K, I'm going to take out 12, or whether I say I only need to take out 3 this month and I'm going to leave the rest and grow more. My long-term goal with this account is to get an offer with BULENOX's partners that essentially funds their business. That is my long-term goal. I'm not here to just continue to trade on one of these 50K accounts and to just pull out 5, 6, 8, 10K a month. That's not my goal. My goal is to get an agreement with, or a bigger agreement, more lucrative deal, agreement. So that's where I'm going to be at. Alongside that, I also don't want to have 50K of profits in my account for BULENOX to say, unfortunately, we've run out of money and we're going to have to close all accounts and not get my money. So it's going to be a bit of a balancing act. I'm going to bring you really quickly over to my live trading journal. So this is what I've been trading right now. It's quite funny because this week has not gone particularly well. On Monday, I had a legitimate losing day where the strategy performed poorly. Then on Tuesday, I had a day where I made some pretty big errors. They were eye-opening to me. Then yesterday I made back most of the loss from that, and then today the strategy didn't perform particularly well again. So right now I'm at this weird spot where on the funded account I am currently down $100. Kind of sucks, but at the same time I feel like I have gone through probably the worst period the edge has performed so far and made quite a few mistakes. Now the good news is that if I just show you a few here, the very first couple of days of this, I believe, was all traded on my own cash account. So on the 18th, on this day, I made, 6.8 R. I think it was actually, I was trading slightly smaller size, so it's only equivalent of about 3.5 R. But that was actually money that I made. I don't have to, wait to pull it out from the account. On the 19th, I had a couple of losing trades before a couple of winning trades. So it was a small green day. Then on the 20th, I had one trade, which I got out of prematurely because we had a weird news spike and I didn't really want to hold through that. That was one of the winning trade on the funded account. On the 23rd, I then had a couple of losses. And the crazy thing is, on the 20th, on these few days here, I had on the 20th, on the 18th, 19th, 20th, I think I made $700 that week, which was a really cool week. And it showed me the potential of how much money the strategy that I'm trading can make. This week, like I said, not gone quite as well. On the 23rd, I had a couple of losing trades. And then on the 24th, I made I made a mistake early on, which led me to take 4 losing trades on my bigger size. It's my biggest ever losing day. It was horrible. I lost $720 in one day, which was the worst feeling I've had. Oh, it wasn't that bad of a feeling because I know the strategy works. And then I reviewed the day and realized that the strategy had, if it had been traded correctly, actually made money. And this is a really big thing because it meant that in one day I gave up 10 hours of profit compared to the strategy. Yesterday I had a day where we had 2 really nice winning trades before a losing trade, and then today, funnily enough, I had 3 losing trades in a row. One was pretty unfortunate before closing out with a winning day. Now what that means is that since trading on the live account, or the live funded account, I have made a total of about 2R. It says 4.5 here, but the first day was only half size. So I've made 2R. This is a little bit disappointing because the potential of the strategy during this point has been 14R, and it just goes to show that even trading at a high accuracy or an okay accuracy, 77%, there is still a lot of work to be done. Now, I actually showed this equity curve towards the end of the last episode, and we were down here. And what I love is that despite the edge feeling like the last week or so hasn't felt as good, there's been some bad days, some by me, some by the edge, it has continued to make profit. I've added some other graphs to see how the edge is playing out. And this is something really important, actually. So this graph here, actually, this is probably the easiest one that shows it. This is a rolling expected monthly gain graph. And what I saw from this was that the backtested results were possibly a little bit best fitting, possibly a little bit. And then since I've traded this account either on a live account or the challenge, or before then when I was paper trading it, it has stayed in this kind of ballpark, which means that it is somewhere between 40 and 70 R a month, or 40 and 70 R a month is the likely profit of the strategy. Probably, I personally believe it's leaning a little bit towards the bottom end of that. But having this data reassures me that right now the edge I'm trading is substantial, and it's something I'd encourage, if you can, to do in your own trading. So where do we kind of go from here? Because I've now shared the whole story as to how I got funded, the whole process. The first thing I do is, if you are at a stage in your life where you've been trading for a bit and you feel like everything you've done hasn't really worked, I have released a product called the Trading Blueprint. Now this is a product, it's a course which doesn't go into any strategy whatsoever. It is purely a blueprint on how you can go from having no edge, or having an idea of what your edge is, to trading that profitably. I'm going to tell you now, I went through pretty much the identical process for getting funded. The first step is all about how to create an edge. The next step is all about how to backtest an edge. The next step is all about how to refine an edge. The next step is all about how to paper trade the edge. And then it's trading in a live environment and sizing up. My journey has been theory of an edge, backtesting, refining, paper trading, paying a small amount of money for a funded account, getting funded, and trading real money. This wasn't an accident. I created that blueprint because I followed it myself. It is the same type of blueprint that when I've worked with people that I've coached from a performance and mental game side, it's the same blueprint that we use in those sessions. It's the same thing. I will pull out a part, like, okay, we're right now at a point where we need to backtest. So that's what we're going to focus on. Or right now, we've got the results, we've got everything. Now it's all about improving performance. There's a big section in there specifically on how to improve your performance. So if you are considering taking a challenge like this, if you are considering taking an idea and trying to trade it, I would strongly encourage you to either watch through this and kind of work out what I've done in terms of the steps you need to take, or if you want a full breakdown with lots of added things in there as well, go check it out on the website. There's a little clip at the end of this which shows you where. There'll be a link down below. Highly encourage you to go and get that. And if you want more information, reach out to me on Twitter. Send me a DM. Right? If you say to me you're not certain, then we can have a 30-minute call and we can then work out what is best for you. So this has been my little challenge. Really happy that I achieved it. It was really cool. I will probably continue to upload monthly updates if people want them. I don't want to like record all my trades and talk through it because it's not really relevant. But if you guys would like to see my journey continued, then I can upload every few weeks to let you know how I'm getting on, share how the edge is doing. Maybe in a month's time, the edge has disappeared and I've been losing money, and it will be a very big bang back to earth, which will be entertaining to see anyway. So let me know in the comments what you'd like to see, and also if you've tried one of these challenges and if you've passed as well. For now, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in tons of the other videos that I've been creating. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Just adding a quick piece in here to let you know what extra services I have to help you become a better trader. On my site, guidedtradingmeditations.com, you can find my new course, The Trading Blueprint, which gives you a full guide on how to create an edge, test it, start trading it, and scale up. There are sections included on how to find weaknesses in your trading and then how to resolve them, as well as many other bits of information that I've gathered in my years of experience. The aim of the course is to make you a fully independent trader so you don't need to pay ever-growing monthly fees to be in a chat room. There's no specific edge needed. You can use this in any market with any trading style. If you're at a stage in your trading where you're struggling and would prefer a more in-depth look at your own personal weaknesses and ongoing support, you can also book one-on-one coaching with me on the site. There's a cool breakdown on the screen right now, so pause the video and read through it, and if it's something you're interested in, check it out. There's a ton of other content on the site that I'm really proud of and I've really enjoyed making, so if you're interested, please check it out. I'm sure there'll be something on there that can help your trading. You can reach me on Twitter. My handle is in the description down below. You can send me a DM if you'd like any more information, and make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with future videos.